I don't know which way to look.
I told you I wanted to get him closer.
What's up, guys?
We have two cameras.
We have two cameras going here. We've got one on my wife's page, and we've got one here on my page. That way we can hit you from both angles. So, all right. So, we're gonna just kind of recap on what we talked about last week. We talked about why we exercise. Brianna kind of gave her story. She started exercising into college after the freshman year, had a muffin top, didn't want that muffin top anymore, started running, eventually found her way to strength training.
That ended up being the much better way. So
Right.
I embraced the weights, and now I embrace the kettlebells and the barbells and all of that good stuff. So much better use of my time because I don't have to exercise as much.
And so now she's exercises, strength trains twice a week, and she's managed to keep off all the baby weight, 30 pounds of baby weight, by focusing on weightlifting, and as a byproduct of that, it improves her endurance. Okay, and so just to why do you exercise now? So like now, she knows why she started. So like, why now do you continue to exercise?
Yeah, well, I started because I wanted to look way better in my clothes and fit into my clothes, and then I had to be healthy. And so now I continue to exercise because it's so important to be healthy. We've had, I'm sure you as well can name lots of people who have had life-altering changes because of their health. So I have learned and seen firsthand that if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And if you have your health, I sincerely believe that you have it all, because even if you didn't have any money or anything, but you were healthy, you could work your ass off and be there for your family and be there for your kids. So now I exercise to be healthy. I still like to fit nice in my clothes, and I want to set a good example for not just like both my kids, but especially for my daughter, because I mean, this could be a whole separate video, but I'll just keep it brief. Like women and men too, but we're just so bombarded with what is supposed to be healthy. So I want to be that good example of health for my daughter and show her how to be healthy without talking about being, oh, I'm too fat, and totally ruin her life with that, because it's very easy to do. It happens a lot to our young girls. So that's why I exercise now, to be healthy, to be the example of health for my kids, especially my daughter.
My story is going to be completely different. So, I'll make it brief and short on my end, and then I'll tell you why I still exercise. So, was pretty active most of my life. I never really dealt with like a lot of weight issues until I got out of high school. Played baseball all the way up to Little League, and then eventually I got out of school, was no longer playing baseball. All I was doing was working. And I was working at an automotive dealership, and a lot of those guys don't live a healthy life. Everybody eats Cokes all day, and the taco guy would come every morning, and before I knew it, I ballooned up to like, I don't know, 200 and something plus pounds.
That's
with a
crazy.
40-inch waist, just like out of shape at 19 years old. Wasn't getting anywhere in life, just like didn't know what I wanted to do. And eventually I came across jiu-jitsu, and that was kind of like my entrance into like fitness and that kind of thing. So I started training jiu-jitsu when I was about 20 years old. I think I was about to turn 21. I think I started training jiu-jitsu and then I turned 21. It was somewhere around there. And so lost weight with that. Actually, back up. So I was 19 years old, overweight, and I used to stay up late watching infomercials in the middle of the night. And watching these infomercials, I came across what, if you grew up in the 90s like I did, or even in the late 80s, you are familiar with the Bowflex.
We had a Bowflex.
Before the Bowflex, it was a Solo Flex.
My dad had that too.
So I used to watch this Bowflex infomercial every single night for I don't know how long, and finally one day I picked up the phone, I called, and I ordered a Bowflex. That thing came in, I'll never forget, I was 19 years old, it came in UPS like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I ate dinner, and all I could think about was putting that thing together and like start using it. And so I stayed up till like almost midnight putting it all together, and it came with a manual, and it had
tons of pieces.
3 different like workout templates. It had like a strength training, it had a circuit training, and then it had a bodybuilding template. So naturally I did the bodybuilding template because I wanted to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so I stayed up.
I'm just adding visuals.
Oh. So I stayed up until about, I don't know, midnight, after midnight, and I did all the workouts from every one of those templates. So I stayed up all night doing that. Gotten much better shape. Then I found jiu-jitsu shortly after that. Got in even better shape. Really didn't pay attention to like my eating though. I kind of ate whatever I wanted because I was only 21 years old.
Were you getting the chicas?
No, I didn't get any chicas. I wasn't into chicas at that time. I was worried about getting my own act together. I couldn't even wipe my own ass at that time. So, yeah. So I basically started jiu-jitsu. Eventually worked my way. Once I got my purple belt, this was like 06. 05, I got my purple belt. I started wanting to compete competitions, so I had to start paying attention to my weight. I had to start exercising. If you see a ball of hair walking by,
it's ours.
That's our son. He didn't want to go swimming with our daughter, so he's here,
looking all cute,
walking back and forth. So, so eventually I wanted to start competing in jiu-jitsu, and in that has weight classes, so I had to start watching my weight. I had to start watching what I was eating, and that's kind of where I fell down the rabbit hole of strength training, like for a purpose versus just kind of working out and going through random motions. So I started training with more of a purpose, started paying attention to what I was eating, and that led me down the route of eventually becoming a yoga teacher. And then through jiu-jitsu, I found kettlebells in like 2006, 2007. Did that off and on, didn't know what I was doing. Eventually went through, got my RKC in 2010, 2011. Opened my business, and here we are.
Did you get a hot chica in there?
I did eventually find a hot chica around 2006. I don't know. There she is. So, right, got engaged 2006. No, got engaged 2007, married 2008. Here we are 11 years later.
And you showed me all your strength training tips.
And then I took her through her strength training tips.
And I looked awesome for our wedding.
And she looked awesome for our wedding. So, why do I train now? Like, why do I still exercise now? Like, what? So we hear a lot about motivation, and motivation comes and goes. I'm not a big believer in motivation because it's easy to work out and it's easy to train when you're motivated. That's easy. But what about when you're not motivated?
You know what I hear a lot? Is that people are like, well, I would work out, but I don't have anybody to work out with. Like, I don't have a gym buddy.
Oh, a gym buddy.
Gym buddy.
We'll talk about gym buddies. I'm gonna Hulk smash gym buddies. So, what was I talking about?
About training and what do you do on your own?
Yeah, so basically, like, true motivation isn't actually when you go train, you go exercise when you're not motivated. Because that is where true motivation is. Because it's easy to go to the gym when you're like, oh, I feel like working out today.
Like it. Everything's
but what
going
about
right.
What about when you had a shitty day at work and you can't stand your coworkers and your kid threw up on you on your way to work, and then you had a flat tire and you pulled a 15-hour day because your boss said you had to stay later? Like, what happens then? Are you not going to go to the gym?
No more motivation.
Or right, the motivation's gone.
I don't have time.
So true motivation is going to gym, exercising when you're not motivated, which actually is discipline, right? So why do I train now? Why do I exercise now? Because I want to be badass when I'm 60 years old. And I want my kids to tell their friends that my dad can kick your dad's ass. That's what I want. My dad does jiu-jitsu, my dad's stronger than your dad, and I want my kids to want to grow up and be just like me.
Well, you know your kids talk about that, right?
So
we were all on the playground. My dad can beat up your dad.
Yeah, so that's why I still train now, because we set the example for our kids, and we, you know, our kids are going to want, you're your kids' superheroes, right? My kids, I'm their superhero. They're going to want to do what I do. So I don't do it for me. So strength training, exercise has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the other people that are around you. Because if you're not strong and you're not capable, you can't help anybody else, right? It's like the whole idea with you're in the airplane and the oxygen masks come down. You got to put on your oxygen mask first, before you can help anybody else. So if you're not strong and you're not capable because you're not exercising and that kind of thing, you can't show up at your best. And so I want my kids to look up to me, and I want them to be able to tell their friends that my dad can kick your dad's ass because my dad knows jiu-jitsu and my dad is stronger than your dad. And I want that. And I want, because I didn't have that as a kid. And plus, I want my wife to be proud of me. I don't want her to look at me, which she probably wouldn't admit it, but if I was 150 pounds overweight and I said, honey, do I look like I've gained weight? She's gonna be, no, I love you just the way you are. Inside, she's like, you're a fat, you need to lose some damn weight.
I would not think that.
Again, I told you, she would not admit that.
I would say you need to get healthy.
She would not.
Because there's a bunch of problems that come with that.
That's a nice way of saying you need to lose some damn weight. So, like, she wouldn't say that.
But it's true.
Plus,
you have to be healthy. Well, you know, if I can
when it comes to married stuff,
my mom's watching.
When it comes to married stuff, last thing a woman wants is a 300-pound guy on top of her, squishing her, right? So, like, I don't want that. And I don't want her to think that. So, that's another reason, okay? Obviously, the health stuff is going to come along with that. I'm going to be healthy. I'm not going to have heart disease. I'm not going to have high cholesterol. That's a benefit.
But that's getting a bunch of people these days.
But
so it is true.
And I also want you to know it's okay to want to look good. And I think a lot of like all this like body shaming stuff, like, yeah, you don't have to be skinny, and you're not a bad person if you're like struggling with your weight. That's not it.
Still got it.
But I think it's still healthy to strive to look better, because that's going to make you feel better about yourself. It's going to make you present yourself to the world differently.
I did not feel good when my pants were way too tight, and it was giving me gas.
Yeah. And you're just not going to feel you're just not going to feel your best, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I still train. I want my kids. I want to be badass, and I want my kids to, and I want to be able to train jiu-jitsu forever. Like, I've been training jiu-jitsu now almost 20 years. Thanks be to God, I'm not injured. I want to be able to train jiu-jitsu until I'm in my 60s, 70s, and 80s. I want to still be able to roll and train with, like, the young bucks. And I want to be able to know that I can still take it to these little bastards. I can still train with them, and I can still push them, because I want them to look at me and be like, damn, look at this guy, 60 years old, 70 years old, still training hard with all these young guys. And I don't want to wake up feeling broken, busted, like, oh, my hips are bothering me because of jiu-jitsu. I don't want to wake up like that, right? So that's a huge reason why I train to this day, is I don't want to feel like that busted and broken 40-something-year-old guy that says, oh, I used to be this, right? Because we see that a lot. And
my heyday.
Yeah, my heyday, right? Back in the 80s, I could throw football over those mountains.
Al Bundy? That's old school.
Was that? No, that was Uncle Rico. Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I still train, right? I want to look good because I want my wife to be happy to, she's going to say that she loves me anyway, but deep down, there's going to be some of that. So fellas, if you ask your wife that deep down, even though they're nice about it, it's there, and vice versa.
I think it's just human nature,
right? So, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And where you're at is where you're at right now, but the goal is to constantly strive to get better, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically, in a nutshell, why I exercise, why I'm still training.
If you want my story, you have to watch the first video.
So Brianna talked about her story. Just scroll down the feed, you'll find part 1. So what we kind of wanted to touch on today is, aside from that, so it's like a brief recap telling you about why it is that I train. What to do when you don't have a gym buddy. This is a very common thing, right? We ask our friends, like, hey, I'm going to join a gym membership, or I'm going to start exercising. We should do it together, and we should, keep each other accountable and that kind of thing. So very common thing, and it's actually it's a good tactic, right? Because it takes a village, right, for people, and you can't do it alone. Whichever way you go, you cannot do this alone. You cannot get fit alone. Try as though you may, it's going to be easy to be sidetracked with life. When life drop kicks you in the chest, it's going to be hard. So what do you do when you don't have a gym buddy?
Well, I know talking about like my story on why I exercised last week, I talked a lot about my friend Whitney, and she was pretty much like my gym buddy, my running buddy. That's what we were doing together. But, you know, there were times that, and this is true not just of her, but over the years, you know, lots of gym buddies here and there, let's do this together. And no matter who it is, like Hector said, life happens, stuff happens, and, you know, one day I would not want to bail on my gym buddy, and so I would try my darndest not to, but some things can be helped. Other times my gym buddy would be like, I just really don't feel like it today, but I'll catch up with you tomorrow. And so now I'm thinking, okay, well shoot, I didn't want to go in the first place either. and so my gym buddy cancels on me, so I'm like, you know, no one's really gonna know, she's not going, so I didn't want to go anyway today. I really wasn't feeling it for whatever reason. You know, I just may not go, or I would make myself go anyway, but I would half-ass it or hardly do anything. And I had to learn for myself once my hyperglycemia kicked in. I mentioned that last week too. Like I had to do it. So I had to do it for myself, and it was more of like a mental thing. I had to tell myself, you can't depend on somebody else. And this is true of happiness, by the way, in life. You cannot depend on another person to fulfill you in every which way. And it's true for your health and exercise. You cannot depend on somebody else, because life's gonna happen, whether they want to let you down on purpose or not. So I had to mentally tell myself, I can't wait on anybody else. And what if sometimes it's like, yeah, I'll exercise with you, I need to do it too, and yeah, we'll go together, it's gonna be awesome. And it's like, sweet, let's go at 7 p.m. Oh, I can't go at 7 p.m. I can only go at 8:30. And I'm like, well, friggin' 8:30, I don't wanna go at 8:30, it's too late for me. So like schedules, like that may not always work out. That's something that I learned. So I had to just be like, all right, it's just me and the Lord getting healthy. So yeah, that's my whole thing. I mean, it is helpful, it is good, it's awesome, you know, when it works out. But if you're missing sessions because your gym buddy had to cancel or moved away, you know how many friends move away, or you're in college and you're not anymore, or you got another job and you have to move, you know, it can be tough. And then if you were like, man, we were doing so good, I don't know how I'm gonna do it on my own. That's that negative self-talk, and it's so easy to fall into that. And it's so easy to do well for so long and then find a reason to kind of get out of it. So those are the trappings I have found.
So then what do you do? So then what's the answer? So if you can't, you get, so a gym buddy is great, but sometimes a gym buddy is an enabler.
It just doesn't work out. Sometimes
they're an enabler because they're like, you know what, it's Friday, I'm kind of tired, I'm gonna go to happy hour, you want to come with me? And you're like,
yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah, I'll go with you, right? So like sometimes that can happen, right?
And we're human, I've done that.
You know, so then what if you have someone that you know you can't depend on, right? And
even a dependable person, stuff's just gonna happen.
Yeah, stuff comes happen. Sometimes they move. Sometimes they're going through relationship problems, and they go into hiding, or they don't ever go anywhere.
You're like, hey, what happened to you?
So then, what would be the next best option?
What I have found for the best option is tough love. Tough love in the form of a coach. You've been my coach, and Hector's like the nicest guy ever, and he doesn't call me names. I've read other stuff about people in relationships with gym coaches, and some of the stuff I've read is horrible. Like, I'll just give you an example. There was a girl, and she said that her boyfriend would make her jump, just jump, and if anything on her body jiggled, she was fat. He would tell her, that's fat, that's a problem.
Wow.
I can't imagine living like that, with that kind of stress.
Just on a side note.
That is not tough love. Let me clarify.
Just on a side note, Nikki loves his curls.
Oh, thank you, Nikki. Yes, we love it too.
They're awesome.
And everybody thinks this is hilarious, but it's true. Everybody asks, "Oh, where does he get his curls from?" And it's Daddy. It's Daddy's side of the family.
My whole side of the family, everybody has curls.
Curly hair.
My mom has really more wavy hair, but my sister has like kinky
Super curly hair.
My younger brother, his hair looks just like that, and even Brianna has wavy hair if she lets it go out. So, me, I had straight hair, but anyway. Yeah, that's where the curls come from. So
yeah. So the tough love, not in the example I gave. That's an extreme thing. That's horrible. But tough love, as in, you are gonna ask, and like, well, did you stick to the plan? Did you get your exercise in? No, you didn't. Well, why not? There really is no good reason, especially if you do kettlebells or barbells and your training session is like 20 minutes. So he is gonna ask, and one thing that kind of changed my life was, well, you're a grown woman. You know what you need to do. I've given you the tools, so now I'm going to make sure you show up. You don't show up, well, where are you? Well, why not? So when are you gonna come in? That's what I mean by tough love. Not, oh yeah, I understand you're tired. Like, this is not the guy to come to for excuses. Like, no one sleeps less. No one works harder. Like, that's a whole other life. But he's tough on himself, so he very lovingly holds me accountable as my coach. He's not my gym buddy. I don't train with him. He gives me my plans, tells me what to do, and I gotta accomplish it. I don't train in classes and stuff, but my coach tells me what I need to get done, and I come in and I get it done on my own.
So fortunately for you, I mean, you have me that is a coach, right? But like 99% of the other women or men out there, they're not married to people that this is their profession, right?
Which doesn't make it easy, because
so ideally what you need to look into, right, is to hire a coach that, for one, knows what they're doing, has worked with people, has worked with all different types of people. I would encourage you to not hire a coach that only works with like professional athletes, because all they know how to do is work with professional athletes. Like, work with a coach that has worked with just everyday Joes. So like, that's a lot of who we work with. Those are just regular people that live a life, that are parents, or, they got their parents and all that kind of stuff. So, finding a coach that is going to, so like, for instance, the husband-wife thing, sometimes a husband and a wife can enable each other, right? Yeah. Like, oh, I'm tired, let's just pick up wings tonight. And one of them's like, oh, okay. But, having like a third party, someone that's not related to you at all. So actually, when Brianna was actually going to our classes, I didn't coach her at all. She coached with Jake and with Lawrence. She didn't coach with me. I had them specifically with her, because here's something unique about husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever. If you tried to tell them something, for the most part,
parent, child, you could understand that one.
It's going to feel like you're telling them what to do, okay? And you don't like to be told what to do. Like, how many of you have experienced this? Your wife tells you, you should do this, I think we should do this, and you're like, yeah. One of your female students or one of your female friends says, hey, I think you guys should do this. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And she's like, hey, I've been telling you that for like 2 months, right? Vice versa. You tell your girlfriend, you tell your wife, you tell whatever, like, hey, I like that dress that you wear. You're like, oh, I don't like it. And then somebody else tells her, hey, I like that dress, you should wear it more. She's like, oh yeah, you know what, I do think it looks good. I'm going to wear that again. So it's like, it's this weird, I don't know what it is, but it's with almost with every couple relationship. So if finding a coach that is like, has nothing to do with, it's just third party, right? Has nothing in on it. So because a coach is going to hold you accountable, they're going to challenge you, they're going to...
Because that husband-wife relationship you just said is kind of like you and your best friend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's skip today. Let's do happy hour instead.
He's already asleep.
Past his bedtime. Did you know? I think I told you a long time ago.
So you can't trust it. So don't trust a gym buddy. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, but more than likely, it's not going to stay consistent
forever. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, consistency is the mother of success. Okay, so the more consistent you can stay, the likelihood of you sticking with something long term is going to yield positive results all the time. So hiring a coach that knows exactly what they're doing, has worked with people that are dealing with the same thing that you're struggling with.
I almost got a coach before I met you.
They're going to, that you're going to stay consistent. So you almost hired a coach. What happened?
Yes, I almost hired a coach, but he was going to be over $500. And when they pointed out the coach, I was like, yeah, no thanks, because he looked like he needed a coach for himself. I'm sure he's super nice. I'm sure he's very knowledgeable.
So you definitely want to you definitely want to hire a coach that looks the part. They don't have to have abs and look like a bodybuilder, but they should look kind of fit.
He looked out of shape.
Right? Like they should look. Again, just my opinion.
Out of shape.
Right? I think a coach, a strength trainer, a personal trainer, any kind of strength professional should look the part. Again, don't have to look like they got washboard abs. They don't have to look like that. Okay.
But he looked completely out of shape, so I thought I'll just go at it alone, doing what I know what to do, which was
imagine hiring like a financial advisor, and they're like $1 million in debt. Like you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna trust you with my finances, right? And hiring a coach that's like 80 pounds overweight, smokes, drinks alcohol all the time. You're probably not going to want to hire that person as a coach.
Yeah, not like you have to look like Thor, but this poor guy, he looked like completely out of shape.
Tamara has a comment here. Tamara says, I still have friends and family who tell me they wish they could do what I've been doing, and I tell them real quick, I couldn't do any of this. That's why I hired a coach to show me and make sure I do it. I know I have to be accountable for whatever I choose to do that day. The next day. Yeah. So, Tamara, Tamara's awesome. She was in here deadlifting some serious weight today. But Tamara, that's actually really, really rare, because a lot of people actually think they can do it on their. I don't know what it is about the fitness world. In the 19 years I've been in this fitness realm, whether through jiu-jitsu, now running a gym, strength training, fitness, losing weight, whatever it is the only profession where people actually try to do it on their own. They think they can do it on their own.
Well, yeah,
I don't know what it is. So, imagine if my plumbing exploded. No point would I ever try to fix that on my own.
No, not that.
I would screw it up. If I got into a car accident and I ran somebody over, I am not going to try to represent myself in court. If I broke my leg into 33,000 pieces, I'm not going to try to fix it on my own. I know these are extreme.
Well, those are extremes,
but like even something
simple. I wouldn't even try to renovate our house ourselves.
People don't even change their own oil.
Yeah, that probably is simple, but I
so
still
like
don't
that's
even
pretty easy,
attempt.
right? Like, but when it comes to like fitness, they're like, oh, I'll just do it on my own. When in turn they end up wasting time, spending way more money.
That's what I did.
When they could have, because at the end of the day, when you hire a coach, what you're really investing into is you're leveraging their knowledge, their experience,
for your time,
you're buying speed actually.
Yeah.
You're paying for speed.
Get me there faster.
Right? Because
I truly don't know.
If you have to go and try to do it on your own, you got to go and learn all of the science, all of the biomechanics, all the this, the that, the this, the that, to get it right. And by then, before you know it, it's been 2 years and you've only lost 15 pounds.
Yeah.
When you could have hired a coach for 6 months, 12 months, whatever, and got there faster. Right? So ultimately, that's what you hire a coach. And Tamara, you had the wherewithal to recognize that, and you did it.
She's kicking butt. Oh my gosh.
And
Talk about speed and getting results.
Just on that note, people right away put the price, right? So hiring a coach is not cheap. I'm going to be straight up in front with you, because we're talking about professional expertise here. So like if you hired a plumber, it ain't going to cost $50.
I know, right? We wish.
It's $50 just for them to come out to your house.
I paid $75 just for them to come look at our microwave. They didn't even
hiring a coach.
Do.
It's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. But hiring a coach is an investment into yourself. Okay, because at the end of the day, you're going to dump $200 or $300 down the drain eating out or going to the movies, or you're going to dump that anyway, right? But if you look at it from more an investment standpoint, imagine what that's going to do for you long term, right? You may become this whole other person by hiring a coach, to where you go on to impact other people's lives. Maybe you get a better job, maybe you get a promotion, maybe you get, I don't know. I mean, there's so many other things. Maybe you meet the love of your life. Who knows? You know what I mean? And then y'all go on together. Y'all go on and do something crazy together.
You never know who you come across.
All because you invested, right, into coach, that kind of thing. And I think everybody needs a coach. I have a coach.
Yeah.
My coach has a coach. And so let's talk about that. Here's one thing to look for. Okay? Here's how to spot a good coach. So if we're talking about fitness and you're going to hire a fitness trainer, you're going to hire a coach to get you to lose weight, to whatever it is you're trying to do, right? Jiu-jitsu, whatever. Tamara said I pay for my membership just by the money I save. So Tamara said I pay for the membership just by the money I save changing my eating. Look at that. So
no more fast food.
Yeah, cutting out
restaurants every day.
Cutting out 1 or 2 days a week of eating out will save you a ton of money.
We spend $10 on snow cones, and I only get and that's if 3 of us get it, me and the kids.
I mean, going to the movies is like $50 easy, right?
No, we spent $60. Family of 4, $60 on tickets alone.
Let's just say $50, and you go to the movies once a week. That's $200, right? Anyway, so here's how to spot a good coach. If you're going to hire someone to help you lose weight, whatever, to go change the world type of thing, if that coach doesn't have a coach, don't hire that person. Because how can you hire a coach that doesn't even believe in having their own coach, but yet they're telling you that you need a coach? A coach that's telling you need a coach, but yet they don't have one, that's a red flag.
No, but you're going to have to explain that, because somebody will say, well, you need a coach.
Okay,
you must not know what you're talking about.
So when I say, like for me, I have a coach. She is my business coach. She helps me with marketing. She helps me with getting all the crap out of my head, helps me organize my business. Now, I've got like the fitness part more or less kind of figured out, so I don't have like a fitness coach, although I do have someone that I reach out to for accountability. Shout out to Maggie. Every now and then I need help with nutrition stuff. I reach out to her because that's not something I want to have to worry about sometimes. So she helps me a lot with that sometimes. But when it comes to deadlifting some heavy weight, I got that part down. Okay? But every coach needs a coach. Okay?
Or figuring out how to take somebody's body to the next level.
Yeah.
We're all in different
spots. Right, and so to get,
get stronger, leaner.
Yeah, and for most fitness professionals, they should have some kind of business coach or some kind of mentor or someone that helps them with their business. So if they don't have that in place for themselves, but yet they're telling you to hire them as a coach, to me there's some inconsistency there.
Because no one's going to be like the master guru for
you don't know
every
everything.
aspect of their life, is what you're saying.
I don't know everything. I don't know everything about marketing. I don't know everything about this, that. So like areas where I know that I need help from me, whether it's
you just don't have time to go and become the guru in that.
Yeah. So like I'm highly involved with the Strong First system under 𝗵𝗲𝘁𝗁. I'm one of the senior instructors there. So I look forward to going to assisting at these certifications. Sometimes I'll lead a certification with one of the masters. And I enjoy going because at that moment I know I'm going to be a student that entire weekend. And so I really soak that time up because sometimes my technique goes down because I train by myself. I don't always have someone with eyes on me like we have our eyes on students. So sometimes I develop bad habits. And so I love it when I meet up with some of my mentors. Shout out to Czar, shout out to Andrea, Jeff Sokol, Lance Koffel, Betsy, Karen Smith, Jason Marshall. There's tons of them that hold me accountable, that I look to them when it comes to, when I need help on anything, when it comes to strength training. So always make sure when you hire a coach, make sure they have some coach at some capacity. More likely it's going to be some kind of business coach. Okay? So that's just something on that. Let's see if there's any questions.
Any questions? If anybody was watching from my page, my phone died. So that one just went blank.
Let's see if there's any other questions. I think that's it. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So just to recap, we touched base really quick on last week. We talked about why she exercised from a woman's perspective. Now, what the reason why I train from a man's perspective. We touched on gym buddies. Gym buddies are great, but they're really not reliable because
stuff happens.
But think about also like a gym buddy. It's like the blind leading the blind too. How do you know if they don't know how to do the right thing? How, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, and when women,
so it's like, well, hey girl, I'm training, or guys like, dude, like, how come my deadlift's not getting better, or how come I'm not losing weight? And they're like, well, I don't know, let's try this then.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like blind leading the blind. So ultimately, even though you have a gym buddy, that's good to get you started, because everybody's in a different position. Everybody's just,
we're different.
Like
different
a gym
health
buddy.
journeys.
A gym buddy is good to get you going. Go
or
into
like,
the gym.
Hey, I'll see you there because we have the same coach.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about.
Yeah, you're just going to Planet Fitness on your own.
We don't know anything. Yeah, and we're gonna go and do our own thing.
Yeah, because we have here at our school, we've got people that just like hook up and they're just like good friends inside and out, and they make sure that they come to the same class, which is awesome. So that's accountability
but they all have
there.
Their own coach.
But they do have us, right, to guide them. But they still hold each other accountable, like. Like Tamara and Blair and Yvonne, they're like really good friends, but they come in and they push each other, and I'm sure they hold each other accountable outside of here.
I better see you there.
So, but they're not coaching each other.
No, like Whitney and I, we had no idea what we were doing.
So ideally, basically at the end of the day, you need to look into hiring some kind of coach to guide you to where you need to be. Okay, don't look at it as an expense, because at the end of the day, we make room in our budget for things that are important, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and even with some of the stuff
I love the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves are my favorite team in the whole entire world. I grew up watching the Atlanta Braves. Okay? There's an event. Brianna's like, hey, we've got this going on.
We're going to go to a birthday party.
We're going to go to a birthday party. And I'm like, I'm busy. I don't have time to go to a birthday party. I don't have time to go to a birthday shower.
Birthday shower.
And then one of my good friends says, hey man, we got tickets to the Atlanta Braves this weekend.
And they're in Houston,
and they're playing the Astros in Houston. And I'm like, awesome. Let me find a babysitter because I'm going to go watch the Atlanta Braves. And the Brianna's going to be like, hey, I thought you were busy. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we make time, we make the physical time in our calendar, and we make the financial time budget for things that are important at the end of the day.
Hey, it's my workout buddy from way back when. Hey, Whitney.
Hey, Whitney. Is that Jigga Wit?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Another laugh.
All right, guys. Well, we've been going on and on. I think we're gonna cap it up.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna call it a day.
Yep. We could probably talk forever.
Yeah, we can keep talking forever. So thank you so much for everybody that commented, watching.
If you have more questions,
Whitney,
leave them in the
Tamara,
comments.
Javier, Edward, Carl, George, Brenda, Kathy, Nikki, Nicole, Candace, Joe, Tom. Thank you so much for watching. If any of this resonated with you, maybe you think of a question or a comment or something like that, just drop something in the comment section.
And let us know what your experience is too.
Yeah.
Because
let us know if you had any experience with a gym buddy that maybe kind of fell through, or maybe you've been on the fence.
Worked out great, or that pushed you even more.
You've been on the fence about hiring a coach. You don't know if it's something you should do. Like, what should you look for? What should you ask for? That kind of thing. And drop a comment with why you exercise. Yeah. Why do you exercise?
And just know, like, and the reason that we're telling you all this stuff.
Why do you want to? Why do you want to exercise? Why do you want to get fit? And if you have been, why do you continue to? Drop that comment. And
we share our experiences. Yours might be different. Yours might be similar. But just know, like like true in everything in life, you're not alone. We have struggled, we have learned, we have yet to learn, but the point is that you're not alone. You have us, and you always have someone to turn to. So keep doing the good work.
Keep fighting the good fight.
Do what you can, push yourself, even get a coach, take you to that next level.
Get a coach to take you to the next level.
Because it doesn't just end with, oh, I reached my goal, I can stop now. I was like, you mean I have to exercise the rest of my life?
Yeah, you got to exercise forever.
I had to make peace with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, health is important.
One last thing on a coach. Here's one thing a coach does that you really don't see until that time happens. A coach is someone that's going to be there to for one, to help you to navigate all the obstacles in your life. Because I can tell you this from firsthand experience, I don't teach people how to exercise. I don't train people. I don't do that kind of thing. I wish that's all that I did. But over the last 10 plus years of being a coach and running a business, I am a friend, a colleague, a therapist, a coach, a whatever. Like it's just been so much. It's been so much more than like, hey, okay, you got this many reps, you got this and that. Like just so many different relationships we've built. People have come, people have gone, people have been with us for like 7, 8 years. We've had people that come and go, whatever. But you develop that relationship. That's why it's called personal training, because you develop a personal relationship with the person that you've entrusted your body with, your safety with. So that coach is going to, for one thing that you're not going to realize until you're there, is that coach is going to be one of the first people that you're going to want to celebrate with your success, because they know what you started. They know all the struggles that you went with, because losing weight, getting stronger, this whole fitness thing is very mental, psychological, more so than it is physical. Sure, the meal prep and training, that's there. But like, there's those hurdles. You're going to have the peaks and the valleys, and you're going to have months where you've gained weight. Months where you've gained weight, or you feel like you've gotten weaker, or you know, self-doubt starts to creep in, that kind of stuff. And you're going to look back after 2 years, 3 years with that coach, and you're going to be able to celebrate the victory, because they know everything that you've gone through. They know the stuff you've dealt with, the stuff you've dealt with at home, the
haters,
with work, with kids,
like,
and yet
you've done enough, you've lost enough weight.
Yeah, and then you
keep
push through.
Eating this bad stuff with us.
And that you push through, right? So a coach is going to be someone that's going to push you, challenge you, but they're going to be there to celebrate your successes, which is really cool. Because as coaches, I can tell you, that's one of the proudest moments of like as a coach, is when we see that person finally just break through and do their first pull-up, or do their first deadlift, or finally, like, man, I finally lost that weight. I haven't lost weight in 8 months since I've been working with you, and something just finally snapped, and now I'm doing it, and it's just like, man, to see that breakthrough is pretty cool. And it's moments like that where we're like, dang, this is why we do what we do. And this is why we've been here for going on like 8+ years and all that kind of stuff. So, like you said, it's not always physical. A lot of it's mental. A lot of it's mental. Some of it is mental, because, again, we could talk about this piece. Maybe we'll talk about this next time. Yeah. You know, the psychology of exercise, that kind of thing, because it's a mental game. And the hard stuff outside of the gym, but affects what you do in the gym. Yeah, because you've got internal beliefs, and you have external things. You have internal factors, stuff that you're telling yourself, like, I'll never be successful, I'll never lose this weight, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm weak, I'm this, I'm that. That's internal stuff, right? Then you have the external stuff. I'm busy, I'm working, and I gotta stay late at work. You did good enough already. Yeah, you don't need to lose any more weight. Yeah, you're good. You're doing pull-ups. Oh, only guys supposed to do pull-ups, or whatever. I do jiu-jitsu. Why are you doing jiu-jitsu? It looks like you're two guys rolling on the ground with each other. That looks weird. Yeah, you can choke you out though. Anyway, so many hidden benefits to a coach. So, thanks for watching. Let me scroll back down one last time, see if there's any comments. Any new ones? No, that's it. Josh, Nettie, Whitney, everybody. Thank you for watching, guys. If you have any comments, leave something in the comment section below. Let us know why it is that you exercise, why you train. Would love to just see why it is that you like what you're doing. Everybody
Keep
has
chatting after the video stops.
everybody has different goals. Everybody's like, man, I want to get strong because I want to run a marathon.
Yeah.
Or, I want to run this. I want to do that. I want to do a Tough Mudder. I want to do
We've
this.
had people shave off 30 minutes from their marathon.
Awesome, guys.
All right.
Have a great weekend.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Love from our family to yours.
Bye, guys.